At UTS, games development is framed as a software design and engineering and implementation process. So at UTS, it is a programming heavy degree. Now, games development is a hugely multidisciplinary skill. So on a games development team, you're going to have visual artists, you're going to have audio engineers, you're going to have creative writers, and you are going to have programmers and software engineers. And that's what we teach primarily, software engineering. We also teach a little bit of what's known as interaction design, which we translate as game design, which is essentially how do you make a game fun? How do you make a game that people actually want to play? So we'll teach you that, as well as how to code up the game, how to get it running, and then how to manage projects of large teams. It's transferable skills in problem solving. So while you are specializing in games development, it is broadly an IT degree. So you come out of the degree as a great programmer and a great software designer and developer. So you can go out and make software for any industry out there, not just in games. While you do have that specialty, you can move across to other IT industries. And it requires students with a highly creative mindset, but who also have a high technical skill. So there's a creative mindset needed for all software development in order to think through these complex programming problems, but even more so in games, because you, again, are trying to design a game. You're trying to make a game that people are actually going to enjoy playing. And that takes a huge amount of creativity. It may not be the same like creativity that you think of when you think of visual design, when you're doing an art class, let's say, but it is trying to think about how people interact with the computer, how they interact with each other through online communications and tools, and how they interact with a game, what's going to be fun and what's going to sell well, essentially, out in the industry if you were to take your game and turn it into a business or a product. So there's diverse careers coming out of this degree. So you can be a games developer working at a large studio or a small indie studio. An indie studio stands for independent studio. Or you could be working overseas or locally. You could be a computer graphics specialist, so someone who really gets into how the code of computer graphics works. So what you're looking at the moment, you're looking at your computer monitor or maybe the screen on your phone. There is a lot of code that goes into just showing this picture on your screen, and even more so how to translate, say, my 3D image into a 2D image for you to watch. So you can specialize in that kind of technology. Software developer in general, so rather than just specifically games developer, you can even look at being a much broader software developer. Interaction designer, like I said, that may be in games, making games that are fun, but also have you ever stopped to think why you have certain gestures on your phone, where you're swiping left, swiping right, swiping up, swiping down, tapping, pinching, rotating, so forth. When the iPhone was first released, it was the first touch device of its kind, especially to be held in a single hand. And they hired massive amounts of interaction designers to figure out how this technology was actually going to be used by an individual person. And to be honest, they did an extremely good job, because not much has changed since that original iPhone in terms of how you interact with the phone. They've been making refinements over the years, but not too much. So that's what interaction design is. How do you make technology and software that people can use that's going to make them productive in their jobs, or that's just easy to browse through in their spare time, and so forth. Virtual reality specialists, you can take on some projects, especially if you have virtual reality equipment at home, and make virtual reality games. The technology that we teach you in terms of game engines, those game engines are used to make virtual reality games. And Josh will talk more about this later on, because that is actually what his career is now. He is working for a company that specializes in virtual reality games. So part of my job is doing games research, and one avenue for that is what we call serious games. Now that might sound like a contradiction, but what a serious game is most games that we make are purely for entertainment. But if you want to make a game that has some other objective, you want to educate someone, you want to help someone with their mental health or their physical health, whatever it might be, that is a serious game. It has an objective other than just entertainment, and they're very hard to make. You've possibly played some educational games that don't really feel like games. They're not very fun. So a good educational game will be extremely fun and keep you really pulled into that educational content. Games and software entrepreneur. So especially if an entrepreneur is someone who starts their own businesses. So if you've ever thought that you would like to start your own studio, you will be in quite a good position to do so after you finish this degree. We don't necessarily teach you much of the business content of how to do so, but you have a lot of the skills that you need in order to make a product that you can develop a little bit further after your studies and put out to market. Cybersecurity specialist, data analyst, computer science researcher, so forth and so forth. Those last few ones are dependent on what submajor you choose. So the degree has a submajor built into it, which is 4 subjects, and you can choose from any of the other IT disciplines, as well as some creative disciplines. We're going to have an audio design submajor pretty soon, so you can specialize in audio design as well. And you can either take those skills and apply them to your games development. For example, cybersecurity specialist. Every game, if you've played an online game, you know that there are problems with hackers and there are problems with network security and network stability. A cybersecurity specialist is someone who can help with that challenge. Or you can take those skills and again, go work in other industries. So go work as a data analyst for a big bank, or a cybersecurity specialist for a security firm, or whatever it might be. The degree that you are looking at is the Bachelor of Games Development. If you try and search this degree at the moment on, say, Google or the UTS website, what you'll find is it's called the Bachelor of Science in Games Development. So it's got that science word in there. That is the old name. That name is changing. So when you actually go to apply for this degree on through UAC, this will be the name that you see towards the end of the year. It will be called the Bachelor of Games Development, and that's what you would be starting in once you got started. So there are a few elements within the degree. Like I've said before, that you've got this foundation in IT. So you have a shared foundation with all of these, with all of our other IT students. You learn a common language, you learn common programming techniques with everyone else, databases, network, web systems, so forth, how to do project management. And so that makes you a solidly grounded IT specialist, a solidly grounded software developer. Then you have a large portion of the degree is dedicated to games development. So again, focusing in on that games programming, as well as game design, and a little bit of 3D animation, but it's more 3D animation through a games engine. So it's more like how to make cutscenes in games. And then you have that submajor. So you can build your niche and really set yourself aside as a specialist in a certain area. So this is great because you come out as a very unique individual. There's a lot of students at UTS who have IT skills, and then there's going to be a much smaller number of people who have IT skills plus games development. And then whatever submajor you choose, you have IT skills, games development, and this submajor, which makes you extremely unique for when you go out to the industry and pitch yourself to in future employers. And at the end of the degree, we have 2 capstone subjects. So these subjects are right at the end of your degree in the 3rd year, and they are called Game Design Studio 1 and 2, and they are major project subjects. So you essentially work with a group of other students to take a game from initial conception through design, development, testing, and design, testing, design, testing, design, testing. You just keep going through that development cycle. And at this stage, you are taking all the skills that you have learned throughout your degree to make some very interesting games. And you can actually go find those games online. If you search gamestudio.org, that is the Game Studio research group at UTS, but we also highlight some of the games that our students have made. So you can see some of the past events that we've had, plus some of the past games that students have made. So where can IT take you? This is just a diagram of all the IT at UTS, as well as some of the engineering disciplines. And essentially, this is what you're looking at in terms of the Faculty of Engineering and IT. And you can see up the top, in the middle, the top left, is where games development sits. You've got your interaction design, your UX design, as we call it, your graphic designer, games developer. So if you are looking for those animation skills, we have a master's degree within the faculty for animation. We don't teach it within the games development degree, but it is a trajectory that you can go to after your bachelor's degree. So you can become a master of visualization and animation. But also all of these other skills. Again, a lot of them are kind of inherent within your degree in terms of you learning programming skills, but depending on the sub-major that you choose, you've got your security specialist, your content specialist, your data specialist, leadership skills, business skills, so forth, that you can pick up through your choice of sub-major. Alternatively, if you come out of this session and you think games development is not necessarily for you, these are all the other degrees that we have at UTS for IT courses. And once you're in one of them, it's quite easy to transfer between them because we all share that common core IT knowledge. So for example, if you don't believe that you have a strong enough ATAR to get into the Bachelor of Games Development, because it is a fairly high ATAR degree, you can take the degree that's in the top left-hand side of the screen, which is the Bachelor of Science in Information Technology. It will be a little bit easier for you to get into. And then what you can do is transfer after your first year into the Bachelor of Games Development. But this also shows what the difference between all these degrees are. So you might see these advertised throughout the UTS website and not really know what the difference is in them. So the Bachelor of Science in Information Technology is an all-rounder IT degree. It's very flexible. If you don't entirely know what you want to do yet, it's a good degree to take so that you can choose your majors and specialize later on, potentially after the first year. Bachelor of Computing Science in honors is very mathematics and theory in depth. So really understanding how computers work and how algorithms are made and going down that research stream. So if you're someone who's like, I really want to work at Google, a Bachelor of Computing Science honors is what you're looking to do. Bachelor of Engineering Software Engineering is if you really just want to make a big business systems, big business enterprise kind of software and architecture that's going to serve a lot of customers and so forth. So you need a strong sense of how you build up these very big systems working in very big teams. And that's what the Bachelor of Engineering, Software Engineering is all about. Bachelor of Information Systems is about being a systems analyst. So understanding, assuming you've got a system already there, software engineers have already built this massive system for you. How do you maintain it? How do you understand what's working, what's not? How do you cater to the business in an ongoing way and making sure that they are technology sustainable throughout the future? And finally, the Bachelor of Information Technology. This is our scholarship degree. If you are a high-performing student in your studies and you've been taking on some extracurricular activity, I encourage you to look into that scholarship program and apply to them. It is awarded through an interview process. So you will be asked to do an interview with some academics like myself and talk about everything that you've done in your high school studies. And if you're successful, there is a scholarship that will cover your tuition, as well as giving you opportunities to work directly with some business leaders throughout your studies. And then, of course, in the bottom left-hand corner is the Bachelor of Games Development, all things games. We also have some other degrees coming out. Don't know if I'm allowed to talk about them at the moment, but watch this space. There's always new technology emerging, and we're going to have a few more bachelor's degrees coming up towards the end of the year. All right, Josh, I will hand over to you for now and let you carry on.
So, hi everyone. Once again, I'm Josh, and I finished my Bachelor of Games Development last year, and I'm currently working as a junior gameplay engineer at Alta. Why did I choose this degree? I chose this degree for many reasons, but simply because I love games, learning about them, playing them, making them. It's a really fun degree, but it is quite challenging. It allows me to use my maths and my problem solving skills, and it also lets me express my creative side as well, which I really enjoy. It's incredibly satisfying being able to take an idea you have and then transform that into a playable game. And from there, being able to share that with your friends, your family, anyone else, and being able to watch them play and enjoy it is a really cool experience. One of the main things I wanted to know before applying to this degree are what opportunities do you have once you've graduated? And I can tell you, graduating with a degree in games development doesn't mean you just have to be a games developer. That was the path for me, but there are many other opportunities. You can be software developer, interaction designer, web developer. This degree, especially in its final year, has a lot of electives, so you can choose where you want to take your degree. I had friends that took AI and machine learning classes, friends that took cybersecurity. I had a friend that even took Japanese. So you can really customize this degree to suit what you're looking for. At UTS, they teach you assuming you know nothing. So you don't have to be some programming prodigy to be able to take this degree. But if you have any extra experience in programming prior to this, it's only going to be beneficial to you. All the staff and the faculty that are part of the degree are amazing and have lots of knowledge to share. They're all incredibly passionate about what they do, and that's what makes learning from them so enjoyable. And you really feel that in all the classes and the lectures. While there are no set internships for this degree, there are other opportunities for you to develop your skills. The staff will keep you up to date on what's going on in the degree and in the industry as well. So as for me, in my final year, I had a full 1-year internship, and I also worked on a project for UTS. And I got both of those roles through opportunities that were presented to everyone in the degree by Dr. Raff. So there are opportunities out there for you, but it's up to you if you want to pursue them. And I really encourage you to make the most of all these opportunities that come up, because the experience is incredible and you learn a lot while working on all these different projects. So since the Bachelor of Games Development is one of the smaller degrees at UTS, you get to know everyone in the degree really well, particularly in the second and third years where those game subjects become more prominent. It's incredibly fun to be able to learn and work together with a bunch of like-minded people. Everyone's incredibly supportive of one another and help each other out. Some of the subjects, especially in that final year, Game Studio 1 and 2, they become these massive brainstorming sessions where everyone's throwing ideas around to help each other improve their games. So that's really fun as well. And it's not just people in the same year as you. There are people in other years as well. So don't be afraid to talk to people in different years. You'll be sure to learn something new from them. And a great way to meet people is through societies such as the Playmakers Dev Team, where a group of students who are passionate about games come together to make a game over, I think, roughly 2 semesters. We have a bunch of second and third year students right now working hard on that project. So not only is it a great place to meet new people, but also a great place to learn some new skills. Beyond the degree, I've worked at Alta for just over 4 months and I've loved every moment of it. So I got the opportunity to work at Alta through a mutual friend that I met during one of my internships. So another reason to make the most of those opportunities. Beyond that, I had to go through quite a few rounds of interviews. I think it was 3 in total. I also had a programming test that I had to do. So they gave me an assignment and I took it home, completed it, returned it, and then we sort of discussed it. And then from there, I've been hired, and yeah, the last 4 months I've been working hard. As a gameplay engineer, it's my responsibility to help develop new features, create tools to help make the design process of the entire game easier, and to help fix any of the other bugs that we find in the game. I work with a widely talented team across a variety of disciplines, including artists, designers, quality assurance testers, programmers, production associates, community managers. It's a really wide spectrum, and it's really awesome to be able to work with all these different people. And on top of that, we have people located all around the world. So we have people in America and South Africa, UK, and all different parts of Australia as well, which is really awesome. Working with virtual reality has been a really cool experience as well. There is some overlap with normal development, and the skills that I learned at UTS really helped me settle into this role. Going from making smaller games with a group of maybe 3, 4, 5 to working in a massive game with a team of 30 is a bit of an adjustment, but it has been a really good experience. And as I said, the skills and the tools that you get from this degree really helps you transition nicely into the workforce. Having completed my degree, was it all worth it? 100%. I look back on my time at UTS with nothing but fond memories. I met some incredible people. I learned a lot of new skills, learned some really cool things, and I got to make some really fun games along the way too. And at the end of all that, I'm now working in my dream career making games. So I hope you've gotten something useful out of this. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask me. And hopefully we'll be seeing some of you at UTS next year.
Thanks so much, Josh. So moving on with our presentation today. So in regards to adjustment points for UAC rounds, or what you guys may know as bonus points, it is actually added to your raw ATAR to give your selection rank. So all of our courses on the UTS website and all of our handbooks actually provide a selection rank, which is combined with your raw ATAR rather than the raw ATAR needed to get into that course. So don't be alarmed when you see those selection ranks. Those are the lowest entry level selection ranks that has been provided or has been allowed in your previous cohort. In saying that, adjustment points can be obtained through numerous different ways and is capped at 13 points max, and can be obtained through completing the UTS Engineering and IT questionnaire, which will be covered later on in this presentation. Good results in relevant HSC subjects, which is what we call the Year 12 subject scheme, your gender, and even several other special circumstances and more. The UAC Key Dates, there are several key dates to point out for, but basically the most important key dates for you guys to know is the UAC offer round key dates, which there are multiple offer rounds, which is being offered throughout the months of December to March. However, they are usually your main offer rounds. So basically with these offer rounds, you're allowed to change your preferences or your course preferences on the UAC website for each round before you receive an offer for that particular round. But the most important thing to know about the offer rounds is that you need to make sure to take note of the last date that you can change your preferences because you will be locked for those preferences for that particular offer round. Couple of more things is that what Will did mention is that we currently do have our scholarship application open. So if you guys are really interested in maybe applying for a couple of our high school leaver scholarships, you're more than welcome to definitely apply for them. You can definitely check it out on our websites under scholarships. And we do finally have a date locked in for our open day, and fingers crossed that you guys can visit us on campus this year, which will be held on the 27th of August on a Saturday. So hopefully you guys will be able to come onto campus then. And then you'll be seeing that we do have our UTS orientation dates and UTS start date coming in line with the UAC offer rounds. But in saying that, you can find more information about these dates on the UAC website and also on the UTS website. Another thing that was introduced last year was a UTS early entry program, and we're bringing it back in 2022. So basically only year 12 students, so current domestic or international onshore year 12 students, can be eligible for this program, which uses your year 11 results to enter UTS to basically receive an offer to study with us before you even sit your final HSC exams or even your IB if you do fall in that category. Applying this is really, really easy. All you have to do is apply through the UTS online application portal, which is different to the UAC portal. So just keep a head out. Basically with this, when they open in June and July, which will be live on our website during those months, which will close in September, and it is free to apply. So there is no application fee if you are interested in applying for the UTS early entry program. One thing to note about this program is that it is provisional offers, and they will be released in October before your HSC commences. And in order to fulfill that offer, you must complete your HSC or equivalent in order to take that place. Finally, there are a number of ways students can get support at UTS, such as having bridging courses offered in mathematics, physics, and chemistry. I took a bridging course in my first year in uni, so nothing scary about taking bridging courses. It helped me immensely before I started studying my degree. So this can be an option for you guys if you would like to take part in bridging courses before you officially start your time here at UTS. Additionally, we do have a program called UPass, or Peer Assisted Study Success, which is available for some subjects. So what UPass is free tutoring classes, which is coordinated with high achieving students who have completed that previous that subject in previous years, basically offering their advice and a little bit of trial and error questions to help you find success in that subject when you are taking that in that semester.